So, of course, the first thing I had to do was scroll through your Twitter account just to see, because I know you more from the things you've posted, the videos, the pictures, and being in the YouTube streams and all that. So, I guess my first question: what makes you a Dynasty Deviant, or is it just a clever name?
Um, so like I did fantasy for a while, just mostly redraft. Like I ran my own, commissioned league for about 12 years or so, and had a blow up. The league fell apart, and in that whole process of doing it, it became one of those things where I kind of wanted to continue to like play fantasy football year round.
Yep.
And not many of the league mates really wanted to do that, so I kind of got into the whole dynasty thing as well. But um, once the league folded, and I was like, all right, I'll just go full time in the dynasty, and then I absolutely loved it. And so I've been doing dynasty now for, I think this is going on my 4th year. And in that first year, I joined so many leagues because I just couldn't get enough of it. I just kept wanting more and more and more. And I got real serious about it 2 years ago. And one of my good friends that I've actually met through joining leagues on Sleeper with Dynasty and everything, we had the like interest of 3 of us. We were like pretty much degenerates when it came to Dynasty.
Oh yeah.
And one guy was like, I'm thinking about changing my handle, like coming up with a whole name. And he was like, yeah, Dynasty Deviant. He's like, that fits you so much just because, you get in there like an assassin, you do what you have to do, and, no prisoners. And I was like, I kind of like that. And so that's where it stuck. So that's where Dynasty Deviant was born. And I mean, I think it is kind of fitting because, I mean, I do have an unhealthy obsession with Dynasty football.
Now, I know it's only been 2 years, so it hasn't been that long, but I love asking the question: if you were going to start over, would you go with the same handle?
Yes, I would. It's it kind of fits now, like I like it. It's become its whole persona, so I do
Well,
enjoy it.
you choose to name yourself Outhouse, and it seems like a great idea at first, and then it sticks for 6 years, and you're just like, all right, well, I would never do the Russ Fisher FF thing. I'm like, maybe I could have been a little, I don't know.
Right.
So I go into your Twitter and I see your bio, and I need to read this out loud because I loved it.
Okay.
Football first, fantasy football second. I mean, wife first. You get my point. Not an expert, not an insider, not a pro bio writer either. Hashtag SFB12 and hashtag SFB13. First of all, you might want to look into professional bio writing because legitimately I saw that and probably laughed about it for like 2 minutes longer than I should have.
Good. I like that.
So I like it. I like it. So I think we've seen through a couple of your posts, you're a Dolphins fan, right?
Yes, I am. I am a huge Miami Dolphins fan. Have been one ever since like 6 or 7. So yeah, they're my squad.
Are you in the Miami area, or are you old enough that it was Dan Marino?
So I'm old enough that I'm Dan Marino. So I actually grew up, like I was a military brat, but where we stopped was in Virginia. And so in Virginia, like as a kid in the 80s and 90s, everybody was either then like the Washington, like a franchise, or a Dallas Cowboy. And I couldn't be fans of either one of them. And the actual first pro game I ever went to was down at the old Joe Robbie Stadium down in Miami. And been a Dolphin fan ever since because it was different. Nobody in my area was, and that's where it's been. So yeah, see Marino like in his heyday, and it was awesome. And seeing him leave was not so awesome.
That's awesome.
And everything since has not been the greatest, but I'm there ride or die. So I'm one of those guys that spends $500 for the Sunday ticket so I can watch the Dolphins get beat every year for 20 years. But still standing. So it's getting better now. So
I love the
it'll be
spot
worth
you
it.
guys are in right now. I love me that Tua to Waddle connection. That gets my heart pumping.
Yes, me too. Me too. I do the
Well,
little dance with them.
oh yeah.
So.
So here you go. Here you go. Football first, fantasy football second. Are you the kind of person that won't put Dolphins players on your fantasy teams? Or are you the kind of person that goes out of their way to put Dolphins on your team?
Well, see, I try not to put Dolphins on my team, mainly because in the past few years they really haven't been that great. But
That'll
no,
do it, yeah.
it's like I don't want to have any bias towards putting them in the lineup. Because, like I said, like football first. So I'm watching football games on Sundays, not really caring about Dynasty too much until after the Dolphins play. So they usually are in the 1 o'clock window. So after that, then I'm checking and see where I'm at and everything. But I try to stay away from them just because I don't want to be biased personally.
Yeah, it was really funny. Back a long time ago, I used to play with redraft and kickers and defenses, and I was a Seahawks fan at the time, and I had their kicker. And I remember they scored a touchdown. I'm like, oh, I could have used that. Did I just root for the Seahawks not to score a touchdown? Nope. No more Seahawks. Like, and of course, by now I've evolved to the point where I don't really root for a team. It's just fantasy. But I remember that feeling of like, wait, what? No. And that's how it's funny. Like, before it was always like, oh, you're a homer, you're taking the players you like. And then I'm just like, no, it's got to be the opposite, because I don't want to be sad when my team scores a touchdown just because it's not giving me fantasy points.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Okay. So you have SFB 12 and 13 in your bio. Well, first, how did you hear about SFB, and did you get in your first year of signing up?
So yes, I heard about SFB last year, and it's actually I was listening to Sirius XM Fantasy radio. I was driving home from work after like a shift at one of the power plants I was at, and I was listening to it, and they were talking about this great community where it's an invite tournament, and all the proceeds were going towards charity and like Toys for Tots, which really hits home for me like a lot. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So then I looked into it, like, and some of the things that I've seen on Twitter, like the community was just great. And so I signed up my first year, and luckily enough, I did get in my first year. And I was in the Richmond division, and just joining in that group chat, talking with those guys, it was absolutely amazing. Like I fell in love with it. And so this year, like I was trying to be more involved with it, with the fantasy cares, like all the contests and everything you guys were, running. I was like, man, this is pretty great. But when Spider, I can't remember his handle, but when he created the Hopefuls chat and got into that, I mean, it was like 80 to 90 people of just, they're rooting each other on, trying to help each other out, giving tips and everything. And it was just amazing, like this group. And so in that, it just became like fun. And from that, last year when I got into it, then I was trying to add a little bit of charity to some of my fantasy leagues, which had guys that were in on that, and they like donated some money to that. It just became great, like the merch and everything. And my wife, like, she was like, oh, that's pretty awesome, and because she's a pretty charitable person in herself, like we try to be. But when I could combine the fantasy aspect of it for the kids, which is my heart, and all of that together, was just amazing. And each year I meet more and more people in the Scott Fish community, and truly amazing people. It really is.
And when you could walk around with an awesome hat like that and still say you're giving money to charity, that's win-win if I've ever heard it. Absolutely.
Definitely win-win.
And more importantly, including myself in this, you had a whole lot of people just being like muddling under their breath. You getting in on your first try? Come on, man. Even I didn't. Me, like, wow, whatever that means. But yeah, no, that's so cool. All right, but we need. It's not even an elephant in the room. It is not like this was coming, whether you knew it or not. You knew it because I told you beforehand. But we need to watch something right now, and we need to see how you got yourself into SFB 13. Now, everyone, there were so many contests. If you haven't seen them, follow it's a little late now, sorry. But for next year, at Fishbowl Merch and at FantasyCares.org, we were tweeting out contests, multiple per day, to try and get everyone in. Now, here was the Tootsie Roll division, where we tweeted out saying, take yourself a video of you doing the Tootsie Roll. You had to be a little older to get that one, or at least just go Google it. And we saw this video and knew we had a friend for life. So let's watch this. Start out strong, getting that Tootsie Pop.
Y'all mean to do this?
Start a little early, get your groove on. What? That's us screaming behind you.
That is.
Even better. I was going to ask you what race you had, but no, that's us. All right. Now, I got to ask you a question. Was it a personal choice or room restriction that we didn't get the legwork on this video?
Well, yeah, it was pretty much my tripod had broken. And so it was leaning, so I couldn't really get it, so I had to put it on the ottoman, and I couldn't push it back far enough. Yeah.
It was beautiful. We loved, like, up until that point, people were having fun, people were doing good, but like no one went all in. No one was just like, I'm doing this and I'm going to be wonderful about it to the point where I'm going to make other people be awesome about it. So I needed, well, first of all, to talk to you in general, because you have shown that you are just cool as HE double hockey sticks through all of the Twitter and all of the YouTube stuff you've been on, you've been with us on. And so I need to talk about this video for a second in a grander SFB scale. Now, my question was it the Tootsie Roll division that inspired you to just go all out in this video? Because I know you're in the Tootsie Roll division. Or did you join the Tootsie Roll division because it was this video that got you in there?
I joined the Tootsie Roll division because of the video. So when the contest came out, because I remember I was at work and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a video when I get off and I'm going to go all in. I'm going to lean into it because, I mean, like you and John, every day you guys would come on and it's so much fun. And like the whole conversation in the chat was just light and airy. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I've been known to like ham it up a little bit, you know, for, I'm an entertainer by heart. But yeah, so once I got in from that, you know, the backlash, well, not the backlash, but so many people loving what I did and the reaction from it, I was like, okay, so I had to go join the Tootsie Roll division after that. I just had to. And even when John Gilchrist was like, oh yeah, he's got to get in and he's got to be in the Tootsie Roll division, I was like, that's absolutely what I'm thinking. So yeah, that's where I went.
And the best part was that didn't stop you from joining other contests afterwards. Now, of course, you weren't actually in the races or anything, but like I think there was the Lions Roar you put out there. I'm trying to think because, of course, I went scrolling through all of these to try, and of course, my memory is terrible, so I don't remember. So, and it's funny, we always say that the contests are really just about fun. If you get in, just go do it anyway. If like, you know, make a fool of yourself because it spreads it more. It's like, all right, well, this guy did something fun. I could do something fun. And then more people have fun. And that's really what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Except for right now, we're going to talk. We're getting serious. We're putting on our fantasy football hats. So you're in the Tootsie Roll division. What spot are you drafting from?
I'm drafting from the 12th spot.
So you're a smart man and an internet capable man. I signed up originally in the Honker Burger division at spot 11. Because I wanted the end, but I didn't want the end. I don't know why. But with the third round reversal, getting at that end of the draft is wonderful. And then I'm like, oh man, there's Gusteau's. That's Disney Pixar. I got to ride my Disney Pixar train. And then apparently instead of 11, I clicked 1. And so I'm drafting 101. I mean, I didn't. Sure, cool, whatever. So do you have any? Now I know drafting at 11 is a little tough to predict how it's going to fall to you. But is there anything you're hoping for?
So for me, I'm really hoping that I can start off with, it's a little different than a lot of people like with the super flex. But with the scoring, with the tight end premium being what it is, I am really wanting to get like what I think is a top flight tight end. I know that Travis Kelce has 0% chance of making it.
Very glad you're not keeping that dream alive because I wouldn't want to see you crushed like that.
You know, I appreciate
103.
Yes. So I know that I'm not getting Travis Kelce, but around that turn, depending on what's left on the board, I have like Mark Andrews really high in play in my mind.
Oh yeah.
And you know, just really depending on how it falls or how I see like the trends that are drafting, I can like pivot off of that. I'm not like, you know, locked into it, but I'm leaning very heavy into that. I did a couple mocks where I tried even like bully tight ends to see how that all works out. Yeah. So I just wanted to try some different things, but once again, I'm just going to have fun with it and I'm going to roll with what the board presents me. Well,
thank you for having fun with all of this because that's honestly okay, well, the charity of it all is what we really hope for. But, you know, on the social media side, and all this, the fun is what we hope for. So I just thank you for pretty much leading the way because, like, me and John having fun is one thing because we are part of this. We are running it. And even if we weren't having fun, which we are, we were supposed to act like we are. But, like, you led the charge. You're like, oh, man, there's no one driving this train. Let me jump in the engine and get it going. So I just wanted to say thank you. And if people out here aren't following at Dynasty Deviant, fix that right now because Chris is awesome.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.